Welcome to my science world. Our topic for today is talking about. I think this is the very first time we introduce this title. It's gonna be nutrients. Oh wow, nutrients. Okay. So, yes, what do you understand about nutrients? Somebody will interpret this as vitamins, right? Somebody also will interpret this as minerals or, any substances that are helpful to our health, helpful to our health, or any substances that makes us healthy, something like that, right? But that is a general philosophy or definition of nutrients. But we need to be more precise for the definition of this nutrients. Okay, well, what are these? Okay. So the definition of these are healthy substances and materials okay, that our body needs. Because if you don't put healthy, we need to say there's a bad effects or this contributes to harmful to anybody else if we take this materials and substances. Okay, with the point. So it's gonna be these are healthy substances and materials that our body needs. Okay, okay, to build. Okay, maintain and repair. Okay, what to be built? Okay, substances, healthy substances to be maintained also in order to repair our healthy immune system. Repair meaning if there are any sort of damages or any lack of substances needed, okay, to become healthy, then it should be repaired back again, okay, to make us healthy, right? Build, okay, meaning synthesize, right? Or creation of new substances to form another substances or healthy substances, right? And then after that, if we create already healthy substances, then we need to maintain that inside our body, in the system, okay? And then if this will be damaged or you need to repair, okay, be replacing with another new healthy substances or repair back again, still using the same substances but repair back. Okay, you got the point. So this is gonna be the nutrients. Okay. So again, nutrients, these are healthy substances and materials that our body needs to build, maintain, and repair. Okay, so most of the times we will interchange this to vitamins, minerals, like that, right? So, or any healthy substances, but these are really nutrients in terminology, huh? Okay, so it's gonna be these are general, okay, but vitamins are specific, minerals are specific. Okay, get the point. So, what are the types of nutrients? Okay, so the most popular nutrient that we consider, then others don't consider this a nutrient, I know. So it's gonna be water. Okay? Water is considered to be nutrient, okay, that composed of two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen for our cellular respiration. Okay? Vital organs, cellular respiration, in order for us to inhale, exhale, like that, blah, 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 so and so. Okay? Number two, we have the most common, right, in healthy lifestyle and diet and workout. If you maintain your weight to a certain level in order for you to lose weight, something like that. So this is gonna be carbohydrates. Okay. So we don't need to discuss more about this because we already discussed a lot regarding the carbohydrates family, right? Okay. So we can say low carb or high carb, something like that. Of course, high carb will give us more energy Okay, and low carbs will give us lesser energy. Okay, but to diet people, they want low carb. Okay, so that they will not need more metabolic processes or exercise like that. Okay, because if they have more energy required, then high carbs will be enough for that, not low carbs. Okay, so like that. Number three. Actually, guys, the number three is not common. I think also everybody knows about the terminology, but this is not common to majority because we are only dealing with the example, the specific example. So this is lipid. Okay. So the example for this are TG, G, and FA. What's that, Sotero? Acronyms, right? I love acronyms. It helps a lot. Okay, so lipid composed of, it will yield first to TG. TG means triglycerides. And after that, this is mainly a big macromolecules of sugar. And after that, it will be converted to, glycerol. Okay, and then fatty acids. Okay, so glycerol normally comes from the malt and the whiskey, beer, like that, everything. Fatty acids coming from the food we eat, the red meat, the oily substances, the cheese, the mayonnaise, like that, the batter. Okay, what else? So many, right? Okay, so number four. Okay, we have the vitamins. Vitamins. We already vlogged last year regarding vitamins, and I already specified what are those fat-soluble vitamins, water-soluble vitamins, something like that. Because there's a difference, guys. Because if the vitamins are not soluble to water, so it's also a problem. It will never be dissolved completely. Okay. Others also soluble with fat, and others also are not. Okay, get the point. So it's in there that you can create the side effects. Okay, whether it is less or it is high, even though there are vitamins. Sometimes also it will complicate to other, other macromolecules, other substances, especially if you have history in diseases already, right? So if you are a healthy person, then there's no need to worry about vitamins because they are all good to the health. But if you have symptoms of any diseases, then the formulation of these vitamins can function very well. It will be inhibited, it will be interrupted, something like that because of the chemical reactions. Okay, with the point. So vitamins A, B, C, D, E, K. There's no F. Okay? There's no F. With the point, something like that. So the most popular is C, vitamin C for our immune system to fight against antigens, diseases, pathogens, and unwanted substances. Okay? D for the bone health. Okay? E is for the, manufacture of testosterone and estrogen and cholesterol like that. Okay? Here, E. So, B are more on protein. B. More on protein. For example, eating fish, eating meat, eating beans like that. Soya like that. Okay? And A is more on the clarity of the vision. Okay, for eyesight and clarity of our eyesight, something like that. Okay. The K is more on the, I think it's more on the immune system, on the genes, more on the genes. Okay. This K and a little bit of combination of this A, B, C, D, E. Actually, this each vitamin will what do you call this one? Will be collaborating with other vitamins to function very well. Okay? Things like that. Complementary with each other. Okay? So number 5 we have, okay, protein. There's a lot of protein, as I discussed a while ago. We have antimicrobial protein, which is an antibodies, and the immunoglobulin, right? That's an example, or the B cells to attack the antigens or the viruses or bacteria like that. Okay, we have also the enzymes to speed up the rate of chemical reactions so that it will synthesize to another molecules like that. It will help to combine with other substances to create another one like that. Okay, that's enzymes, protein. We have also the hormone proteins. We have the neurotransmitter proteins or the chemical messenger, which is to be used for signaling in the information, passing into the different neurons, nerve cells into our nervous system so that we can have sensory actions like that, motor skills, okay, and give us energy. So that is also protein 3. And then we have also the transport protein. Transport protein example is the lecithin and the low density lipoprotein. They will push the bloodstream to carry this oxygen, nutrients like that to go to the respective area of responsibility. Meaning to say the specific vital organs that needs that nutrients the most. Okay, this will carry the blood, something like that, and it's in there. The blood will be there will be nutrients, oxygen, acids, water, like that. Okay, you get the point. So this is the transport protein. Okay, we have the storage protein. The storage protein is only protein ready for the storage or supply. Okay, they will give to somebody it will need something like that, storage. For example, the liver needs this protein, or it will give. Okay, if the kidney will need it, it will be given. Something like that, storage only. That is storage protein. You get the point? Okay, that's how many? 5. We have also the 6, we have the membrane protein. Okay, this membrane protein is the protein in the cell membrane of our vital organs, specifically in there, needs protein to make it strong like that, to maintain its rigidity, so that it will not be wounded easily by the different substances that will come, go and out on the cell membrane. Okay, so this is also protein for the membrane. That's a membrane or bound membrane protein. Okay, number 7. We have the contractile protein. The contractile protein is the protein needed in our muscles and tissues. Okay, this is also another protein is in our muscles and tissues. Okay, things like that. So there are there are really specific proteins need for the different parts of our body internally. Okay, like that. But the carrier of those protein is the bloodstream. Okay, you got the point. The carrier, and then specifically the lipoproteins, okay, and the lecithin. And there's a lot actually, guys, okay? Mga specific substances that I cannot discuss further because there's a lot. Okay? To the point, I'm discussing only the main players or the main actors, okay, who will do the responsibility in our physiology and anatomy and physiology. Okay, you get the point. So we have number 6. I love this number 6. This is usually taken for granted, but this is important. Okay, this is minerals. These are minerals. Our body needs minerals. Okay, get the point. Minerals, for example, minerals, potassium, magnesium, like that, calcium, phosphorus, like this, chloride, sodium, like that, okay, and iron, like that, zinc, like that, okay, phosphorus, okay, you get the point. So as you can observe, really, guys, the minerals are not usually gases or non-metals, are usually metal in effect or element. Okay, you get the point. See, magnesium, phosphorus, calcium, sodium, iron, zinc. Okay, you get the point. And now let's divide this minerals according to its application and purposes, so that we will know a little bit. Okay, the point. Okay, like this. So the one we discussed about macromolecules and biomolecules, these are all biomolecules and macromolecules, but we are trying only to categorize, okay, like that. Because when we mean of nutrients, not limited only to the four, okay, the minerals will be separated and the vitamins will be separated. So there will be an additional of two, okay. Is the point. So if the examination will say, enumerate the different types of nutrients, your answer will be 6. Okay, water, lipids, like that. Okay, we have carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, and proteins. If the question will say like this, what are the 4 types of biomolecules and macromolecules? You answer only 4. Okay, lipid, carbohydrates, protein, and nucleic acid. Okay, it depends on the type of question, ha? Okay. But basically, the macromolecules are under of nutrients. Okay, that's only in the sake of for the purpose of examination, something like that. Okay. Okay. Now we need to simplify their categorization based on their functions. Okay, we have what minerals that will maintain the balance of our pH, the acidity and the basicity control, because each vital organs needs the requirement of pH, the acidic, the alkaline, and the basic environment. Okay? Because there are times that they cannot sustain if the environment is so acidic, like that. It needs alkalinity, like that. So these are the job of this, these minerals. Okay? It's gonna be potassium, sodium, and chlorides. Okay? Get the point. Potassium, sodium, and chlorides maintain the body's pH. Okay? pH meaning, okay, the measure of acidity and basicity of our vital organs, not only limited to vital organs, but also the substances that will come in, come out, like that. Okay? Get the point. So, potassium, sodium, and chloride. That's why we need also salt, because there's sodium in there. Okay? And chlorides also we need that. Okay? And also the same as potassium. Okay? I'm not sure, guys. Okay. Now for the, not only limited for this, guys, sometimes it's, not sometimes really. Okay, chlorides, sodium, and potassium will regulate also our, very important, guys, our neurons. Neurons, okay, nerve cells, and brain cells. Okay, so these 3 will create the action potential. Action potential, meaning to say, mga palangka komunidad, these are electrical impulses that will produce electrical signal. Okay, electrical signal. Okay, then the substances that will act on it, what we call chemical messenger hormone and neurotransmitter. Okay, so these are only the drivers. The drivers to create this chemical messenger hormone, because this sodium, potassium, and chloride have action potential that will create the electrical signals and they will push the neurons, nerve cells, and brains, like that. Okay? So mean to say, most of this potassium, sodium, chloride will drive this chemical messenger hormone. Okay? So after having the electrical signal, okay? For example, like this, there's like this here. For example, this is the action. Action meaning the length in which the neurotransmitters and the electrical signal will travel. Something that is action. Okay? So the action, there's a lot of opening and on. It will open, it will close, 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 it will open, it will close. So opening, yeah, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, like that. Okay? Why? Because if there's no positive, there will be no neutralization reaction. So it will not create electricity. Because it is the law of polarity. Something like that. The most of the substances here are both polar and non-polar. Okay? So it's impossible that all substances in our body are all non-polar. Then how can we create electrical signals and impulses? So there will be no action potential to create the electricity. Then we cannot be activated by the chemical messenger hormones. Okay, then our neurons will not activated. Okay? You get the point? And we cannot energize. We cannot be activated. Ganon. Okay? You get the point? So these are sodium, potassium, and chlorides. Okay. Claro, of course, negative siya, right? So, potassium positive. So, positive. Okay? Ganon. Always remember, guys, that it is chloride. No other. Because maybe you will tend to understand fluoride like this, but the fluoride will not do that. Okay? There's a lot. Actually, sulfide, fluoride, bromide. But this is so special. The chlorides only will do the function. Get the point? Maybe you will be confused. Because in the halogen family, in the halides group, there's a lot. Fluoride, chloride, bromide, iodide, astatide, like that. They have the same characteristics being electronegative in the periodic table. But our body choose chlorides only as the top activator of our neurons to create electrical signals so that our chemical messenger neurotransmitters will function to effectively communicate to our central nervous system and our peripheral system. Okay? You get the point? Something like that. Anak siya. Okay, peripheral system, motor skills and actions. Okay? Central nervous system, this is memory, mood, intelligence, speech, academics, okay, mga ganun, okay, language, all information, okay? And sensory also, the sense of smell, the sense of touch, the sense of hearing, the sense of the sound. But this motor motion is really the movement, okay? The movement, how we walk, how we write, how we sing, something like that. So anything that has a movement of our muscles and tissues. So the motor skills neurons are not the same with the sensory neurons for the memory, intelligence, mood, appetite, and so. So the chemical messengers or neurotransmitters are very important for this by the activation of these drivers, potassium, sodium, and chloride that creates electrical impulses. Okay, and that's very clear, right? Okay, because our body composed of chemical processes and electrical processes only. Okay, no other. Okay, it's gonna be like that. So, after potassium, sodium, and chloride, okay, we need also iron. As you can see, guys, really, if you drink too much distilled water because you are only escaping the bacteria, okay, the salmonella, E. coli, like Escherichia coli, and then the Clostridium, botulinum, like that, different types of bacteria. If you're only, if you want to distill it very well to make it pure, then you can also not gain minerals. Okay? So that's why if you are not sick, distilled water is not really for us because the more it will become pure, the more the minerals loses. And then we need minerals in our system. You get the point? It's only needed for the sickly people because they are they are not prone to any kinds of, you know what I mean? Okay? Okay, let's discuss distilled water. Okay? Okay, and we have this is pure water, right? And the drinking water. Okay. So they are not prone for bacteria. Okay, like that the sickly people. Okay? because they are already in the hospitals. But for the healthy people, we are exposed to a lot of unwanted substances, bacteria, blah, 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 so and so. Okay, because they're already sick, you have to be careful what to drink. That's why they need to drink distilled water and pure water. Okay? This is for the sickly people. But we can also drink this. It depends on us. Okay, but the more we drink distilled water and pure water, the more the minerals loses. For example, based on my experience before, I was a chemical analyst in analyzing the parameters of water. For example, solids, suspended solids, like that. Okay, the salts, the total hardness, the iron, the chlorides. There's a lot, right? For that. Okay, so it's okay to drinking water not distilled because we have a lot of minerals remain. So iron, chloride. As I told you, chlorides will activate our neurons. If you make it distilled and the chlorides will lost in the drinking water. You get the point? Though there are also other sources, not only the water we take, but it's better we can get minerals through water. Okay? You get the point? So, for example, iron, chlorides, okay, magnesium, calcium, potassium, okay? These are the minerals, right? We found from the water. So, if we drink distilled too much, this will lose all. Okay? Not really totally lost, but it will be reducing their concentration or, in the water. So, better drinking water basically distilled, not the Wilkins, okay? Unless you are known to have, stomach upset, diarrhea, constipation, maybe you have bacteria inside your digestive. But if nothing, you're healthy, go to the drinking water, okay? Not the distilled or the pure water. You get the point. Because we need minerals. Okay. Now, we have another very important mineral. Okay. We have the iodine. Okay, the iodine for regulation of our thyroid hormone. Okay, to avoid goiter. You get the point? The swelling of your thyroid gland. Okay, due to Hashimoto thyroidism, the disease autoimmune diseases. Okay, because of lack of triiodothyroid hormone or triiodothyronine hormone. Okay, get the point? Ganon. So it's gonna be like that. So we need also iodine I. Okay, that's why also our salts also are fortified with iodine. That's why some of the stores are using iodized salt. Okay, this can help also to treat the swelling, the growing of the cyst, the tumor, or the goiter, something like that in the here in the what do you call this one? Throat. Okay, to the point because of lack of iodine or iodine deficiency. So we need also iodine. Okay. And then we need also iron. Fe. We need iron, okay, but in the process we avoid iron because it can eat the outer surface of the pipe to create corrosion. Okay, the ferrous chloride, the ferric chloride reacting to the moisture or the water or the acid rain, then it can produce a rusting process. Then it will eat the outer layer of the pipe. The color is a little bit of yellowish, orange, and a little bit of reddish and brown also combination. Okay, but usually yellowish and reddish, something like that. Okay, the color, and then it will create water leakages or whatever in the pipe. Okay, but in our body is opposite. We need iron in an adequate level because our blood needs it. Okay? Our red blood cells need it, which is the hemoglobin. Okay? So if we don't have iron, then our heart cannot pump the blood. Okay? In going to the different places to places, and then the oxygen cannot go into the bloodstream if there's no proper pumping of the blood. But then also complementary to the blood flow circulation, if that is the case, right? So we need iron in order for our blood to become healthy. Okay, and at the same time, as I told you, we need the pH for this blood to be activated to alkalinity, which is 7.45. Okay, based on experimental evidence, the pH will not go 8, will not be less than 6. Okay, if you have the blood now, you can get sample and measure the acidity and basicity. It will be alkaline. Okay, there's a purpose for that because alkalinity, that is the specific pH that the iron can function very well according to its purpose. Iron. Okay, and most of the substances also cannot flow properly if very acidic. And because very acidic, too much slippery, something like that, okay? You get the point. So it should not be properly flowing to the respective epithelia cells. Okay? Epithelia cells. Epithelium is singular, epithelia is plural. Okay, this epithelium is the lining covering of our blood vessels. Okay, like that. Get the point? So if it will be destroyed, then there will be leakages also, just like a pipe. That's why we have also the disease called leaky gut. Okay, something like in our intestines. Okay, that's why it's not advisable to eat food that have a very hard skin. For example, crab, lobster, like that, or even the eggs. If you mix that shell to your scrambled egg, it will go to your digestive system and it will not be dissolved, and that is very sharp. Okay, it will bump to your lining of your small intestine, and it can create colon cancer. Okay, you get the point. Colon cancer is for the large intestine actually, but it's the same as long as it is intestine, right? Okay, but specifically is the cancer to large intestine, large intestine, not the small intestine. The cancer of the small intestine is the gastrinomas. Okay, in the small intestine. You get the point? So there's a specific disease to be accumulated. But generally, you will just say, okay, this is a cancer of the colon, meaning it's either, but to be specific only. Okay, you get the point? It's gonna be like that. So what else? Eating fruits that have seeds. For example, guava, okay, a lot, right? There's a seed. So you need to take out the seeds because it will bump to the lining of your digestive and intestinal tract, something like that. Okay, then it will be wounded, and then it will create inflammation, and then bleeding, and then no control. Then burden at the age of 60, 50, like that. Then you will have colon cancer. Okay. Anyhow, this disease is a disease for rich people because they will always eat very expensive food like lobster, like that, seafoods that are so expensive. Okay, but the average and poor people will not eat this much. Okay, we cannot afford sometimes. As you can see, most of the colon cancer patients are rich people because they love to eat ready-made food, something like that. You get the point? And then they cannot, because ready-made food, it's not sure that they will clean properly uh, compared to the one we will be cooking. You get the point? We will be the one to cook the food. We will wash it properly, remove the skin. But if you go to the restaurant, you cannot expect that like that because you get the point. That's business. That's massive production. It cannot be denied. That's, you get the point. You know what I mean. Okay, because they are just only working. You get the point. Things like that. But if we will be the one to cook, it's clean because we need to remove properly, the dirt, like that. We wash carefully. Ganun. Okay? You get the point. So, it's better to cook our own food. Something like that. Because we are sure. Okay? We can go also to restaurants sometimes. But most of the times, it is really advisable that we will be the one to cook our food. Okay? Ganon. So, iron ha, for our hemoglobin. Something like that. Okay? Now, if you try to analyze, will iron react to sugar? Okay? Because if there's a reaction between iron and sugar, then iron and salt, there's a possibility it will create a coagulation in your blood vessels. And a coagulation will have solids, substances, and it will also be trapping, okay, into your blood vessels, right? And it will create vasoconstriction. And there will be no proper flow of your blood. So that's what we need to understand the chemistry, right? What will happen if the iron will react to salt? The iron will react to sugar, and then it will flow in the bloodstream, as I explained a while ago. So it will be inhibited instead of flowing it properly, and then the iron cannot move properly because the chlorides are stacking into the iron. Things like this, right? Very scientific, right? It's possible, okay? The point. Ganon. So we will create also iron chloride. O, di ba? So not only in the pipe, it's also inside our system. Because we have chlorides, as I told you, from the water. Okay? And then chlorides plus ions, iron chloride. The same thing also with the processed pipes. It will create also corrosion pala inside our body. But I think in minimum level lang tingali siguro, right? Okay? So for sugar, sa tendency, guys, I think there's no tendency because, sugar is not really a non-volatile solute. Okay? So it will not, it is not volatile. You get the point? So there's no chance to react with iron. Okay? Imagine if you put sugar in your glass, it will be slowly dissolving, right? Because sugar is not, it's not an electrolyte. So you need to stir very well. Compared to the salt, if you leave that, it will be just dissolving until such time it will be perfectly dissolved. Because salt are electrolytes. They will be completely ionized to water even though you will not stir it. Okay? But the sugar, you need to stir so that it will be dissolved. Because it is a polar covalent, polar covalent compound, something like that, or solute. Okay? That's the point, ana siya, guys. Okay? So, the iron man goes sa blood, no? Okay. Get the point, ana good siya. So, manata, iron, iodine, potassium, sodium, chloride. What else? Okay, for the bone, very easy, right? Calcium, magnesium, phosphorus. Okay, these three. Magnesium can be found in the chlorophyll, the chloroplasts of the green pigment of the plants. Okay. Chlorophyll, we have 55 atoms of carbon, 72 atoms of hydrogen, okay, 4 atoms of nitrogen, 5 atoms of oxygen, and magnesium. So it's in there that we can get magnesium because these chloroplast pigments are found in the plants, specifically abundancy in banana plant. Banana plant. Okay, that's why banana rich in magnesium, because it's coming from the chloroplasts of the chlorophyll, the green pigment, through the process of photosynthesis with the light energy from the sun, and also with the enzyme oxidative phosphorylation of the phosphorus. Okay, if you can remember, phosphorylation, light of the sun. Okay, things like that in our photosynthesis. Okay, so that's why magnesium here. It will not go to our cellular respiration, huh? Okay. The only one will go there is the glucose in the glucolysis reaction, and then it will go to the producing ATP, adenosine triphosphate, then acetyl OA, coenzyme, and then later it will produce to the Krebs cycle, and the last will be the ETC, okay, the electron transport chain, in which the electrons will carry, okay, will be carried and produce reactive oxygen species, and again carbon dioxide and water, the same as the raw material, okay, because the raw material of your glucoses are carbon dioxide and water to produce C6H12. It will come back. It's just like a cycle. Okay, you got the point. And the reactive oxygen species will be distributed back to the atmosphere for the plants. Okay, things like that. And others also will be inhaled by human being. Okay, when we go outside. That's the reactive oxygen species after the last process of the cellular respiration, which is the electron transport chain. So, gitransport yun ang electrons. Charot! Nakakaloka. Get the point? Nakakaloka. Okay, anak siya, banana. Okay, calcium, phosphorus coming from the sun. Okay, calcium coming from the water also. As I told you, if you will not drink the pure water, there's also calcium mineral in the water. And then also, calcium will be produced also inside our body through the absorption of iodine, not iodine, absorption of vitamin D2 from the sun, and also the food supplement D3 and milk, okay, to produce calcium. Calcium and vitamin D are jowa. Okay, we need to see they are partnership with each other. Okay, but these three elements are for the bone health. It makes our bone very strong, like that. Okay, so if you have reached adequate level for this, so you don't need to worry. After 60 years old, your spinal column will be straight, not curved. Spinal cord. Okay, like that, and then you walk properly, the same as your teenage time. Okay, but if you lack these three, problem. Okay, your bones are easily be weakened, like that, and you can easily be adaptive to varicose, to uric acid. Okay, too much uric acid also. You got the point. Then osteoporosis. First, osteomalacia, and then osteoporosis. Okay. Because first, it will be softened. Then later, it will be weakened. And last, will be broken. But it's possible it will be broken immediately, right? It will be cracking only. Okay. Or weakening. Weakening, and then budding, crack, or whatever, or damage. But first, it will undergo softening first, which is osteomalacia. Okay, and then after, osteoporosis. If you lack calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, with a special participation of vitamin D. Like that. Okay, these are the minerals. I discussed already the minerals, the proteins, the vitamins, okay, the water, the carbohydrates, and the lipid. Of these six, which are more dangerous? And now let's try to have a comparative study of these six, so that we will be alert. Okay? We will rank according to its, hazardous effect or hazards rating. Charot lang. Okay? So, ganon. So, water, lipid, carbohydrates, okay, we have minerals, vitamins, and protein. Which among the six are top contributing of diseases and top contributing to damage the cell? We will number. Okay, it could be water, lipid, carbohydrates, vitamins, and minerals or proteins. Okay, the deadliest substance are carbohydrates. Okay, because it produces sugar or glucoses. Glucoses is the source of hyperglycemia, diabetes, okay, cardiovascular diseases, things like that. And also digestive system diseases, because too much food cannot be digested very well, it's stuck up to your, visceral fat, as a visceral fat, and it will not be burned. Okay? Sugar, also problem. For your neurological disorders, sugars also can attack. Okay? You get the point? Because if that is the case, your cortisol hormone will be very, very high. Because your cortisol hormone will regulate the sugar intake and the carbohydrates intake. Hey, Sotero, that's too much. Stop it. And then if you really, really want to eat, you cannot control, then problem. But then you have neurological disorders, not meaning mental disorder, also the forgetfulness, like that. You can decide properly, you can decide quickly, and you cannot absorb the instructions. You will lose your mind. All people have like this, right? But not very, very much. Only slight. Okay, these are all considered neurological. Okay, it doesn't mean too much. Okay, as this is normal. Sometimes we can forget. So that's part of neurological disorders also. Okay, initial stage. Ganon. So if your cortisol hormone is very high, because cortisol hormone is the main body stress hormone. Okay? Cortisol. Lima ka i-regulate ko niya. Carbohydrates, sugar, protein, fats. Cortisol hormone, chemical messenger neurotransmitters, is very smart for this. Okay? After receiving the signal from the neurons. Okay? As potassium, sodium, chloride as the drivers for the electrical signal. Something like that, okay? You get the point. Number one, deadly is carbohydrates. Number two, atong i-arrange according to its relevance to our health. Okay? Number two is lipid. This is fats. Okay, triglycerides. Okay, we have, what else? Fatty acids, like that. Okay, cholesterol. Okay, carbohydrates also blood sugar, glucose, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so fats also. And later also fats will be converted to sugar, like that, later on. So, number two, ang lipids. Okay, so you need to say, grabe yun ang sugar kumpara sa meat. Okay? That's the point. So number three, between water, vitamins, minerals, and protein. Nakakaloka. Okay. Hala, kasi makadaog ani mo eh. So, number three is protein. Okay. Because protein have so many deadly protein. I told you. This is protein, bilirubin protein, creatinine protein. Okay? Very dangerous. Bilirubin can cause you jaundice, yellowish of the skin, yellowish of the eyes, and then it can cause liver damage. It will be tested in your urine sample. And the color of your urine is a little bit of brown and yellowish. So that signals that you have a very high bilirubin, something, bad protein. Okay, now, okay, the limit is 1.2, okay, for adults, milligrams per liter. Okay, 1 for less than 18 years old. Okay, and the direct protein through direct testing, it should be at least 0.3 milligrams per liter. So meaning to say 0.3 minimum to 1.2 is the range of our bilirubin protein. Something like that. You get the point. Okay, this will become the problem because the bilirubin can be secreted in the liver. You get the point? Coming from the bone marrow production. Bone marrow, the same as the production of your white blood cells, the leukocytes family, okay, created by the bone marrow. The bone marrow has also a special function in creating this kind of protein, bilirubin, okay, and then you go to your liver, okay, then it will be intensified more if your red blood cells will be decomposed. the hemoglobin also, and it will trigger more bilirubin in the liver. And after that, it will go away in the liver and go to your kidney, something like that. And others also will go to the digestive for the feces, FECES, the solid wastes materials, ang atong stool, something like that. You get the point? But only small in the stool, but most of them will go to the urine. Okay, so that is bilirubin protein. So if you will try to have a medical examination, there will be a bilirubin protein test there. The formula of bilirubin is 33 atoms of carbon, 36 atoms of hydrogen, 4 atoms of nitrogen, 6 atoms of oxygen. Imagine 33 atoms of carbon. It's not easy to decompose. If we have 33 atoms, more than the gasoline to run our engine. Gasoline have only 18 atoms of carbon. Imagine, it can move the car. But bilirubin, we are not car. Right? We are not car. This is only protein, but 33 atoms more than the 18 atoms of carbon to run our equipment, our car. So very dangerous, right? That's why we need to regulate. At least 0.3 to 1.2. Okay. So the identification, as I told you, yellowish skin, yellowish eyes. Okay? And then you will feel pain, tiredness, like that. You cannot, you lose your consciousness, and you cannot think properly, and you always rest in your bed. Okay? But first take a look at the color of your urine, because if the color is too much yellow, yun na yun. But not necessarily, you will still have to go to the doctor. Okay? You get the point? Like that. More magyapon, itis na magyapon nila sa doctor. Okay? That is bilirubin. Another protein which is deadly, we have the creatinine. Okay. What's the formula of creatinine? Okay. At least in the creatinine, a little bit safer. We have 4 atoms of carbon, 7 atoms of hydrogen, like that, 3 atoms of nitrogen, and 1 atom of oxygen. So a little bit safer, only 4 atoms of carbon. Okay. The more the atoms of carbons will increase, the more it will create negativities or negative impact to our health, because it's not really soluble to water or to any acidic or basic environment or any fluids. As long as the carbon atoms will become higher. Okay? There's an issue of density for that. It cannot flow properly aside from being immiscible sometimes. Immiscible meaning cannot be dissolved. Okay? So there's an issue also of flowing that they will not be flowing freely. It needs a lot of pressure to flow. Something like that. You get the point? So it will obstruct our blood vessels in going to your urine area part and the liver part. There's also blood vessels connecting there. Charot. O diba? Ganon. So this creatinine, what is the level of creatinine mga palangga kung hitag? Okay. What is the level of creatinine? The level of creatinine mga palangga kung hitag is 0.7 to 1.3 milligrams per liter in the range. Okay. For women, we have less creatinine. For men, we have more creatinine. Because the more we have so many muscles, okay, the more we have high creatinine. Because this creatinine can be intensified more and more through the muscles. Okay? Muscles will use this creatinine. Okay? And the girls are not known to be muscular compared to the men. That's why creatinine is more to men than to women. But the sad thing, creatinine is dangerous. Why? Okay, let's explain why. Okay, if your data of your analysis to the medical exam is more than 0.7 to 1.3 milligrams per deciliter, okay, we have the disease of kidney malfunction. We have kidney stones. If you have stones in the kidney, that's not only meant for the salts. That's the major contributor for that is the creatinine. Okay? kidney stones. You have all the same story with bilirubin, liver damage. Okay, liver damage. Of course, your weight will become big. Weight gain, obesity, overweight. Okay? So if you are tambukaro, if you are fat now, there's a chance you have so many creatinine in your system now. So go to the doctor. Okay. Number 10, bloating. Bloating meaning the sudden increase of your stomach. Here, visceral fat, not proportion. Okay, your breast is very flat and your stomach is very big. So that is bloating. That's the term, technical term or medical term. Bloating condition. Ganon. And other digestive issues. What are these? Constipation, diarrhea, dehydration, like that. Intermittent removing of the human wastes. So that's a signal that you have also too much creatinine in your system, in your urine sample. Okay? It's in the blood, but it will go to the urine later and can be isolated through the urine. Okay, you get the point? Because 80% up can be measured through the bloodstream. That's why the doctor will get the blood sample all the time. Okay, in our health. It's 3. Blood, urine, and stool. Because the signs or symptoms of diseases will be easily detected in these areas. Okay. Only small in the saliva and in the semen or the sperm. Because these are more on the HIV, AIDS, like that, or the what we call the STD, sexually transmitted diseases. We will get the semen, the sperm, something like that. Saliva also, it has to do something with hepatitis testing. Okay, but most of the times also hepatitis can be done through through blood alone. Okay, but sometimes through saliva. Okay, because HEPA A, HEPA B, HEPA C, it depends on the category. You get the point? But it talks about liver because the word HEPA stands for the liver. Okay? Ganon. You get the point? Anak siya. Okay. So number 3 ang protein. So, ang number 4, mineral, vitamins, water. Okay? Take note. So, this water and minerals and vitamins are not dangerous. Safe. We need water for digestion, for good digestive and to act as a precursor in different synthesis because our macromolecules and nutrients needs fluidity before synthesizing and creating a new substance to function as usual that our vital organs needed in order for us to become healthy. So water is not really bad. Okay, that's why we have 75% in our system in order for us to become healthy. Minerals also is very important for us. Okay, I discussed already, right? Okay, vitamins is very important also. If there is a less of vitamins, then you need to add only vitamins by food supplements, by raw intake of the fruits and vegetables, just like that. Okay? So, it's not contribute to diseases. If it contributes only like this, lack of vitamin, but it's not really the cause of your disease, only lacking. Okay? It's not the same story with the protein, the lipid, carbohydrates, because if it is really too much, it can cause diseases. Okay? You get the point? And then, vitamins, minerals. Safe ang water, minerals, and vitamins. Okay? Sometimes, you have lack of vitamin A for your eyesight. But the doctor will never say, you have a chronic disease because you have lack of vitamin D. It's not like that. Okay? It's always carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins. You get the point? Can you hear a doctor saying, you have tuberculosis because you have lack of vitamin E? They will never say like that, right? They will normally say to prescribe you to eat more of this rather than saying that's the cause of your disease. Eat more like this because you have less like this. They will never say because you too much like this your disease comes in. It's always that fats, lipids, sugars, acids like that, blah, 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 so and so, and protein. Too much protein also is very dangerous, okay? Because protein is a wide array, a lot, okay? You get the point? Mga pila to ka trillions, 40 trillions of protein inside our body. Nakakaloka. Because protein is very too much. Do you think that carbohydrates is bigger than protein? Than carbohydrate? No, it's not. It's protein. First water, second protein. And the third will be carbohydrates, lipids, vitamins, minerals. It's always water and protein that comprises large percentage in our intake. Okay. Get the point, something like that. But review that also. Maybe I'm wrong also, but that's my source. Maybe another source also will say carbohydrates more than protein. Sometimes subjective, but try to double check and cross-examine my statement because it's water and protein. Okay? Because most of the carbohydrates and fats will be needed also in the protein. Okay? In our DNA. Right? Our DNA needs sugar, right? And coming from the carbohydrates, things like that. So that's why. Okay, get the point. Ganon. Okay. So, powerful mga sagot siya. Okay, nabuti. Antimicrobial protein. Oh, diba? Antibodies, immunoglobulins that will trigger to destroy and kill bacteria and viruses. It's not the function of the carbohydrates. It's not the function of the lipids. It's not function of the minerals. Okay? Though it's a function of the vitamins, okay? It's not also the function of the water. Okay? It's gonna be like that. So, it's the function of protein, vitamins, and minerals. Something like that. But, because protein is very huge, there's also disadvantages, but very helpful to us. Okay, you got the point. The same with the carbohydrates gives energy, but protein also gives energy. Right? But carbohydrates will never fight diseases. That's the main issue of carbohydrates. Okay, we can only gain energy, but it will never fight diseases. And then what the substance is more, di na siya masamok. Okay? But the protein, it gives us energy. At the same time, it will attack also the bacteria and microorganisms as our antimicrobial protein. The antibodies and the immunoglobulins, and the enzymes also are proteins, as I told you, and the hormones also are proteins that give us energy. So basically, main functions protein, right, and hormone. So that's why we can survive if we take low carb. Get the point? Like me, I don't eat rice, but I'm alive. Because this is the issue. Carbohydrate is not as important with protein, vitamins, and minerals, and water. Because in the first place, protein have also carb during the synthesis of protein, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So the formula of protein is CHNOP, and the CHO is coming mainly from carbohydrates. Get the point? So it's okay that you will never eat rice, but change that with other low carbs. Okay? So, ang pinakakuyaw ang carbohydrates family. Under man niya ang sugar, sucrose, and glucoses. Okay. We need this for the energy, but more of that will also cause us in trouble. Okay. Now we need to have, before I end this vlog, I need to teach you a little bit with the requirements. Dietary requirements, average daily intake. So according to the Food and Drugs Administration, FDA. Okay? And then we collaborated with the WHO and the CDC also for the implementation. Okay? World Health Organization and the Disease Controls and Prevention Center, CDC. Okay? So these are all about the health, public health, globally. Huh? Okay, all continents all over the world. Not limited to Asia, America, Europe. So they are the controlling regulatory bodies. Okay, now we start with I discussed already the bilirubin and the creatinine for the urine sample. Now I will discuss also for the blood sample. Okay. So we have now to consider first the cholesterol, right? So cholesterol, ganon. Cholesterol. Nakakaloka yung cholesterol. So what is the level of cholesterol? Actually, cholesterol is divided into two, LDL and HDL. Just like polyethylene plastic pipes, we have the low density polyethylene LDPE and the HDPE, the high density polyethylene. Things like also like this inside our body. We have the low density lipoprotein and the high density lipoprotein. Now of the two, which is the positive cholesterol? LDL or HDL? The positive cholesterol is the HDL. Okay? You should have at least more than 45 milligrams per deciliter, but not exceeding to 120 milligrams per deciliter. Meaning to say, the more you have high, it's better. And that's in the case of egg yolk. Eggs, because the HDL is high compared to the bad cholesterol, this one, LDL. But the total cholesterol may be higher. But it happens lang, HDL is high, the good cholesterol. Okay, now, your LDL must be less than, 100 milligram per deciliter. This is at all ages, from 1 year old up to pataas, adulthood. Wow. Okay, so must be less than 100 milligrams per deciliter. If more than 100, so it triggers a lot. Diabetic, hypoglycemia, cardiovascular diseases, name it. Liver cancer, because they are just complementary with each other. Okay, you get the point. And then for the non-LDL, but belongs to the LDL family, okay, it's also ganun siya, 120, less than 120. Okay, basically, mga order siya characteristics. Okay? You get the point? Ana siya mga palangga kung hitad. Okay. Now, what will be happen if it is more than 120? Mga palangga. Saan mo natago kung more than 120? More than 120 milligrams per liter of your cholesterol. Then there's a tendency that it will be deposited into your blood vessels, in the epithelia, the lining. Because they will not concentrate. Why? Because they have density. Okay? It will not be in the center. They will normally attach to the lining, in the like a wall, inside wall of our vessel. So there will be a deposit until such time it will become big, 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 and the blood cannot go. Okay? So it will constrict. That is called vasoconstriction in medical term. Vasoconstriction is the medical term for that. Then there's a lot of thickness in the inside diameter of the lining of the wall of your blood vessel in the epithelia. Okay? And then the blood cannot go out. In, cannot go out, cannot go in, cannot go out. So how can the nutrients can be transported? Since our brain needs the chemical messenger hormone for our memory, intelligence, sensory, in order for us to move. Okay? So that's why the patient will suffer stroke. Because the blood cannot go properly inside to our central nervous system. Okay? You get the point. Just like if you sleep in the slippery floor, you fall at a very big impact, then you will develop hemorrhage. Because the blood is being hardened. Okay? You get the point. So you will suffer the cerebral infarction. Okay? The hemorrhage. Something like that in the brain. Okay? Now, in going to the heart, this is more problem compared to going to the brain. Why? Because in going to the brain, it needs high pressure to move the blood going upside rather than downside. Right? In science. Okay? like a motor. If you want to pump the water at a elevated area, it needs a lot of pressure. And you buy a motor pump with a very high horsepower to run the water at the top. And our brain also is in the top. And our heart is in the bottom. So normally, the more affected is the heart first before going to the brain. Okay? That's why most of the people will die in heart attack. Okay? Because the brain will, the heart will be affected first because it's in downside. Before the blood will flow at the top, it will circulate the downside first in the artery. Something like that. Okay? Your artery will be hardened. So it cannot pump the blood into your brain and to the different parts of the organ in which this blood stream carry the oxygen and the nutrients. Then you will lose your energy because these nutrients, as I told you, vitamins, minerals, to be transported in the bloodstream, it gives us energy to become healthy. Then it will be stuck there. Then we will die. Normally, that's why heart attack is a silent killer. Okay? Or this is called now in medical term as myocardial infarction. So the doctor will normally say, you have a myocardial infarction. But the general public will understand that that is a heart attack based on the common understanding. But the medical term is myocardial infarction for heart attack. Okay, and for the stroke, we have cerebral infarction. Cerebral, part of the brain. Okay, you get the point. That's cerebrum. Because cerebrum controls everything there. The memory, the cognition, the intelligence. Okay, you get the point? So kung mawala na siya tanan, so mawala yun. Bilang juga mabuhi, something like that. Okay? You get the point? Dahil ka nangamatay sa heart attack because of this. Okay, this time we need to lower our cholesterol less than 120. So this is for the cholesterol intake. Now, how about the sugar intake? Okay, like that. So you will be alerted to see this data in your medical examination results. Okay, from now on. Okay, actually, we are not following the regular requirement of medical checkup. Right? We as an OFW, actually guys, the requirement is twice per year maximum. At least one time in a year. But we fail to do that because we are working every time. That's why we cannot expect that our diseases already coming in our system, but still we are not catching it up. Okay, we will just take it because we are earning all that time, like that. But actually, it's already starting to grow as a disease someday. Because if you have your personal doctor, just like the rich people, they can easily catch the disease and prevent it, something like that. Since we are not very rich, we are not rich, sorry, then how can we do that? We don't have personal doctor, okay, in a year. So this is also the one disadvantage for the not rich people or average society. We don't have personal doctor. But if we have money, we can do that. But sometimes we are afraid to lose money just because of the medical checkup, because it's not needed for something. Because normally we will just need the medical examination because we are accepted for a job. But that is a wrong attitude. Even though we are not accepted for a job, we are responsible to take medical exam twice a year or one time a year in our personal record. Not only depending on the employment, okay, because this is our own life. This is the employer will not help our own life. After we finish our contract, they will never care. Okay, things like this. Okay, it's not enough to feel the symptoms like this, like this. So problem na talaga siya. It will be accumulated by the age of 50. Too much medication, too much maintenance, and then your savings will be lost. Especially if you don't have job anymore in the future. So we should be smart enough to detect this, philosophy in life. Okay. This is very clear. Any questions so far? Okay, we go to sugar. Okay, last. This is for sugar. Okay. So, we are referring here, guys, mga palakakang kita, are you still learning? Ito ba mga pasok sa banga? Chart. Now for the sugar, mga palangga, kung hita, there's no classification between the age. It's more on general, okay, from 1 year old to adulthood also, okay. But if you want to be strict, really, the doctor can say also something like that. But what I'm trying to explain is the generals only because it's good to consider the general because we are not studying quantitatively, okay. It's not practical to monitor all the time. If we don't have machine here to measure our blood, there's no laboratory. How can we do that to measure it quantitatively? Like that, to be strict in the record. How can we do that? We don't have apparatus. Okay? So we deal with generals, only general. Okay? Like for sugar, sugar here is the glucose, ha? Don't be confused with the sucrose, fructose, the lactose, ganon. Okay, this is C6H12O6, blood sugar. Okay, blood sugar. Okay. Okay? Ano siya mga palangka? Okay. Now, so mag-tabulate ani. So, the requirement is less than 140 milligrams per deciliters. Okay. Guys, the unit in the medical examination, it's more on the expression of the concentration. Then you will review chemistry, how to compute the molar concentrations for that. The capital M, molarity, moles per liter. But it's not enough like that. They consider the smallest unit of the mole. Medical science people or hospitalization or healthcare professionals or medical technologists, they compute it as millimoles per liter. So this is no longer the molarity because the molarity expression concentration in chemistry is moles per liter. So we need to convert the moles into milli, again, prefixes in math. That's why I told you, memorize the prefixes in math all the time because this is very, very important. From 10 to the negative 1 to 10 to the negative 18. Something 10 to the positive 1 to the 10 to the positive 18 also. Okay, you have to memorize and understand what's that all about, the sequencing. Okay, you get the point. So millimoles, and we need to convert, right? So milli, okay. 10 raised to the power negative 3. Oh, this is in negative. In positive, 10 raised to the power 3, this is kilo. That's why we have kilogram. Okay? You got the point. And this is milli. That's why we have milligrams. Okay? You get the point. These are prefixes in math to measure quantitatively the amounts. Okay? You get the point. So less than 140 is for everybody. Things like that. Okay? Like that. But, it should not be less than 70. Because you have also developed hypotension. Meaning less sugar already also. It's not also good. So you have to be careful with the hypo and the hyper. Meaning hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia. Because we're talking about the glucoses here. And then balance is directly proportional also with with blood pressure. Because if you have high sugar, normally the blood pressure also will increase. Because I told you the neurotransmitter cortisol job in this kind of substances will regulate. Okay. So after the regulation of our chemical messenger hormones, it will signal if you are hypo or hyper. Okay, like that. So, it's going to be like so. Hyperglycemia, more of your glucoses above the level of the carbohydrates we need. And also hypoglycemia, more of the carbohydrates. Hypo less. Since we are not measuring quantitatively the glucoses, we are measuring only the glucose blood sugar. Okay, not the carbohydrates. Okay, because glucose is the building block of carbohydrates. Meaning, the basic unit of carbohydrates are the glucoses. Just like the basic units or the building blocks of protein are the amino acids. The building blocks of life or the human being are the proteins. That's what I told you. Okay? Good. The point. Because Because if that's still less, hypo. Okay, you got the point. So hypotension and also hypertension. Hypertension is high blood pressure. Hypotension is low blood pressure. So if you have 70 less, you have hypotension, low blood pressure. If you have above 130, you have hypertension, but there are still borderline to consider. Borderline. Okay? So the borderline will be 140 to 199. Ganon. Milligrams per deciliter. Okay. This signals you to have pre-diabetic symptoms. Pre-diabetic. So you have a lot of symptoms here. You crave for sugar, and you cannot stop from eating ice cream. You cannot stop eating chocolates because you have high level of neurotransmitters for cortisol. Okay, this cortisol is problem. This is stress hormone, nakakaloka. Okay, and then if you drink too much coffee also, this cortisol hormone will be more, nakakaloka. And after more, you will eat too much sweets. Okay, and alam mo, pagtaka ka ng kayo mo tamis because of your cortisol hormone are not regulated very well. Okay, and nga, hininom po mo coffee. Okay, so as you can see, ang hininom mo coffee, mahilig sa sugar. Okay, most of the times. Butaran mo sa gudin yung asukar. Because if you will never put sugar, it lowers your blood pressure. Okay, but the more you add sugar, the more you add cortisol hormone. The more you release stress hormone to yourself. Okay? Stress meaning less of that, more of that. That's why your appetite will be suffering. Appetite or addiction to something. Especially addiction to sugar, carbohydrates, fats, like that. Because it's the main function of cortisol, body stress hormone. Ganon. Okay. Now, pre-diabetic symptoms, 140, 192 milligrams per deciliter. And now, for the diabetic, is 200 milligram above. Okay? 200 milligram above. But, it's only reaching to 500. Because if more than 500, death. There's no such record beyond 500 milligrams. That means your whole system are completely have sugar. Okay, so if that is the case, so disease comes in. Okay, you will be automatically heart attack if you have 500 milligrams per deciliter of your sugar. So definitely sugar causes high blood pressure, causes cardiovascular diseases. Causes also atherosclerosis or arteriosclerosis are the disease of the heart, specifically the left part of your heart, which is the artery. Okay, because this is the one who will function the blood to be circulated in different vital organs. Okay, in our complete anatomy. Okay, you get the point. So basically, we're studying here of chemistry, anatomy, physiology, and epidemiology. So this comprises all about health science. Okay, the substances discussed in chemistry, including the chemical reaction. In the anatomy, the substances where it goes. Right? And then in the physiology, the functions of both the substances that will go to the vital organs, and also the functions of vital organs that will interact with the substances. And later, if you cannot control less of that substances, more of that substances, the vital organs will suffer symptoms and diseases. That's already epidemiology. Then if you control the whole setup properly for your health, and that is now health science. Okay. Okay, so the main purpose of this blog is for prevention is better than cure. This is again, I am a singer, eternal voice. I am a vlogger and social media influencer. You can click the notification below in my comment section or at the top, right? In the caption of the YouTube title, like that. And then you can subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Please forgive me, my vlogs have no animations. have no special effects, but I can guarantee to the main points. Okay, not on the visualization effects and decoration only. Main points, the technical main points. If you will just listen from the start till the end, then you can get a lot also. But, reminder, you have to cross-examine every word I spoke, okay, from my mouth. Get the point? Because I'm not a medical science professional. Okay, I am a licensed chemical engineer. I am only good in the chemical reactions, its functions, like that, blah, 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 so on. So I've coupled that with research. That's why I've come up with this vlogs about health science. Okay, meaning to say this is not my expertise about health, but only studying, researching, like that, having stock knowledge, also acquired knowledge, blah blah blah, so on. So because it's easy for us to understand about substances because we know the process chemistry, we know the chemical biochemical reactions, blah blah blah, so on. So with regards to pure sciences chemistry. Okay, but disclaimer, not everybody, because chemical engineering is focusing in the outside world, not on the inside of the human body. But this is only an initiative also because I love too much studying the health science. Okay? That's why. Okay, and most of the substances are composed of chemicals. In short, we will die without chemicals. Okay, because neurotransmitters, chemical messengers can activate our neurons for our central nervous system and peripheral system to activate our muscles to give us energy to do what we want in our life. Okay, and that's very clear. Thank you so much for watching my vlogs. Bye bye. See you later. God bless everybody.